Good morning, everyone. Welcome to episode one of Alchemy, my new podcast. I'm very excited to be here. This is season two, if you will, of my previous podcast, which was called Unlock the Genius Within. That is still on Spotify and on my YouTube channel if you're wanting to catch up with those episodes. But we're in a new season, new topic, new theme. And what we're going to be covering on this podcast is tapping into your fullest potential, living your most fulfilled life, getting the most out of yourself, whether it be at work or in your personal life. This is where I want you to come because not only am I going to be doing solo episodes on things like peak performance, health, consciousness, intuition, physical health, literally the works when it comes to your energy, your vitality, and your performance when it comes to business and what have you. Um, there's also going to be guests that come here and speak about their experience with this. But the main vehicle of it all is going to be alchemy. And if you guys are familiar with what alchemy actually is, it's when we're able to turn something that's like low vibration into high vibration. So if you think about it, stress into momentum, um, depression into inspiration, a business that's not making money into a business that's turning a profit. Like that anything that's got any vibe of being stuck or not moving, not creating, not growing. Anytime we can get that into its opposite, that's where alchemy has occurred. So today we're going to kick off with a very important topic when it comes to alchemy, and it's all to do with your relationship to conflict. A very important one. So when we think about this conflict, this can be conflict within yourself, you being tough on you at work. You had something that you wanted to get done, but you didn't. A target, a task, and you're beating yourself up. Um, or it can be a conflict with someone, with someone else, and this can be in like present moment, or this could be in the past. You're still hanging on to an argument that you had 2 months ago, God forbid, 2 years ago. I know I've been there. And there's also, conflicts that we think we may have in the future. Conflict we think we may have in the future. So if you think about whenever you've had a big meeting coming up and you have to have a tough conversation with someone, or you're about to go home, you're about to speak to your partner, and you're about to share some things with them, and you're just anticipating they are going to lose their shit. I'm going to cop it, and it's going to go down. There's going to be this explosion. That's conflict. That's what we're going to be speaking about today, and it's I think the biggest challenge that I have had with conflict is, first off, the assumption that I can't hang with it. For many years, when I uh, started in my first ever job, I was like the nice guy. So this was when I was a soccer referee. So we're going back probably about 14, 15 years old, and I'm uh, I'm reffing these games where all the players, they're like 18, 19, because it was at an indoor center. And I remember anytime I would make a call, like a free kick, you can't tackle like that in soccer. When the tackles are nothing compared to what you see in rugby or AFL, or if you're in America listening to this, the NFL. In basketball, you basically don't tackle anyone; you just slap them. But anyway, like you get the point, right? But so I'm calling these things, and these older people, these older men, are just coming at me, going, "What the hell, ref?" Blah 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 blah. And you know, I knew that was coming before I would before my first game as a ref. But after I had that first taste of it, I remember that. Um, probably for the next 2 months that I was a ref, every time I'd make a call, the players could hear that I wasn't backing myself. I wasn't backing what I was saying. It's like so someone, in football, if you're in Europe listening to this, I'm just going to move over here because I'm aware that there's light. There you go. There's like light glaring behind me. But anyway, okay. So I'm in football, you can't tackle from behind. Like you can't try to stick your leg in and try and kick the ball away. You've got to essentially come from the side or the front. And so I'm calling a foul on someone who's like kind of come around and grabbed the guy's shirt and tried to maneuver him out of the way to steal the ball. Okay, no, can't do that. Free kick to red. And they're like, what, ref, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like so nonchalant about it, so chilled. And it's because I know that if I back myself and there's a bit of certainty and I'm asserting my will in the game, it's going to cause more conflict. Now, I probably developed that strategy many years ago when I was much younger, but that was my first taste of going, holy shit, like I don't know how to deal with conflict. Like I don't know how to stand in it. So that was me like being very avoidant. Now, if I flip it over to the other scale, the other side of things, some people can't hang with conflict, so they try and resolve it like really fast by being forceful. So if you think about people who have arguments, they don't argue, they just shout, scream, and they try to win. They try to win, right? And I remember that I would get like this later in my life when I was in one of my relationships. I hesitated there. I'm like, do I really want to share this? But I'll share it. In one of my relationships, it was just shouting, me trying to be right all the time. Sometimes it was aggressive. At other times it was passive aggressive. So I just get very intelligent and I try to make her wrong and everything. So if you think about it, there's so many ways that you can explain what's forceful and trying to resolve conflict in an argument. But for me, I'd oscillate. Sometimes I'm being a real smart ass and acting like not comedic about it at all, just like going, I am going to mentally destroy you right now. Uh, and then there were other times where it's just like, shouting. But both, the point I'm making here, both are symbolic that I couldn't hang with conflict. Okay, so if you're listening to this and you're going, well, okay, so you don't avoid it, you don't try and win it. What do you do when you're in conflict? So the big thing is that I've noticed that's moved the needle for me is it's first understanding that when you shift your own relationship to conflict, like when you experience conflict with yourself, when you shift how you handle it, okay, it will show up in other people differently. So, big example here that's been massive for me. Whenever I experience conflict now, I don't go to figure it out, like that was a thing back then. So, you know, in sales, you got conflict around money, make more fucking dials and work harder than anyone else. Um, you have, yeah, I had a problem with someone. We're going to hash this out. I'm going to make you wrong, or we're just going to agree that we're not going to speak anymore. Okay, that was a thing for me. It's to cut people out of my life really quick. Um, but that was a reflection of how my inability to actually go, okay, I'm experiencing conflict with myself here. It's not only with the person, I'm experiencing conflict within myself. Why can't I be with the conflicts that I'm experiencing? Okay, because hell, I don't even know what the other person's thinking. I mean, I can assume what they're thinking. I can assume the problems that they have with me. I can get all like, making up stuff and whatever. But in reality, the only thing I truly know is what am I feeling right now? And when I started to learn how to just sit with conflict and allow the waters to calm down first. It was amazing because it was like, right. I mean, yeah, it sucked. I felt a wide, range of emotions. There was anger, there was sadness, there was like rage. There was all these kind of anger and rage, same thing. Well, for me, in my mind, it's a bit different, but there was a whole range. And through just sitting there and watching it, I've noticed that now I can still experience those emotions with other people, but I don't have arguments and disagreements with people that aren't productive. In fact, they don't even show up that way. If there's a discussion that needs to be had with a friend of mine, with a collaborator of mine, whether it be music, business, whatever. If I'm in a relationship, I'm single at the moment, but when I've been in a relationship more recently, it's like, let's communicate productively here. And that's where you can actually learn these things like, I don't know, there's so many tools out there like non-defensive communication. You see, I haven't even studied them, but um, I know all these sales techniques and whatever and things that I learned back then how to resolve conflict. But the point, so the punchline I'm getting to here there is, because I'm not trying to resolve my conflict by using these sales techniques and it coming across like I'm trying to manipulate you, I'm trying to change you, I'm trying to beat you, I'm trying to convince you of something. Because it's like, okay, I can sit with my conflict, and now I'm actually remembering I care about this person. I care about this person. I care about myself. And that's the big thing. That's the big thing when that I've noticed with conflict, like sitting there and going, right, okay, I'm experiencing these emotions. Cool. Oh, so that's over here, but over there, there's that result that I really care about, where it's what this relationship with this other person brings. It's that project that we're working on together that's really going to impact a lot of people. Whatever it is, that's what I really care about. And then when you can bring the communication strategies and all that kind of stuff to that place where it's open, and you're clearly, you're not avoiding the conflict. You're very aware that it's there, but you're aware that there's this other thing that you're going for. That's when you've successfully created alchemy, because you can see the higher perspective. You're like, I'm not going to resolve my conflict. I'm not going to argue with you to resolve my conflict, but I am going to discuss, and we're going to experience some tension, and there might be some functional shouting here. Hey, I'm not adverse to shouting if necessary. Um, but it's going to be functional because it's for an end result that we're going for. It's for an end result. And that's where, conflict isn't a bad thing. A lot of my clients that I've worked with, particularly throughout last year, it was teaching them. It's like, you don't need to fix the conflict between you and the other person, because usually that's about you feeling better about yourself, right? Which again, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you think about what that actually is, it's like you're putting yourself ahead of the other person, the thing you're wanting to create with the other person, everything else that's around you when the conflict's going on. So it's very selfish. But if you go for the bigger picture, where it's like, okay, the bigger picture includes me, the other person, the thing we're creating together, all of it, the people they're going to speak to it. Like you literally, you don't need to consider, who it's going to ripple out to, but you can kind of have that there. You put your attention on that, and then you communicate. You are better for it afterwards. Like like I've noticed when I come from that place, it's just like, okay, wow, I'm actually feeling a lot clearer. Like there's a lot more momentum. Um, and I actually can stand to talk to this person again. When you have those discussions with people and you're like, I don't want to talk to them. But I'll deal with it. Like I'll just push through it. It doesn't need to be that way. In the office, in your personal life, it doesn't need to be that way if you can hang with conflict, if you can hang with conflict and have honest discussions. Okay. Yeah, I feel like that's it. That's all I wanted to share today. So if you enjoyed this episode, guys, subscribe. I don't know how often I'm going to be sharing episodes on this podcast, but when they do drop in, you know, you'll see them on Spotify and YouTube. Uh, and start to ask yourself, as you leave, what's one area of my life that I can just apply what we've spoken today? Like really, really think about that, because that's all it takes. You don't need to apply it to everything. If you have a powerful experience with how conflict changes in one area, yeah, what I've noticed, it naturally changes in every other area of my life. The first, the major shift was with my family. Major shift was with my family when it came to conflict, because I've had a lot of conflict with them in the past. And being able to have some pretty raw discussions with them, um, it naturally washed off in my business and in my friendships and in all other areas wherever you know, conflict comes up. So yeah, think about that. What's that one area that's really calling for your attention? Okay. All right, guys, that's it from me. Have a great day and we'll chat soon.